I'm here with some straight talk, in my normal feisty photographer way, and I just want to share with you a couple things that I've learned. So I'm not going to sell you on how to be a six-figure wedding photographer, because guess what? That's all BS. That six figures goes down real fast when you're actually sustaining yourself and running a real business. Hey, thanks for joining me. My name's McKay. I'm a feisty photographer out of Rochester, New York. I've been a wedding photographer for about 15 years, so I've got a lot of things that I've learned over that time and a lot of opinions about the plethora of new wedding photographers out on the market now. When I started, it was all film photography, so there wasn't really a lot of competition. And there wasn't really anyone doing anything cool either, which is actually how I got into wedding photography. My friends wanted me to photograph their wedding the way that I photographed their parties. And no, they couldn't find anybody that would do that for them. So things have changed. Now everybody's a photographer and the quality's all over the place. I want to share a couple tips of things I've learned over 15 years that have helped me get through ups and downs in the business and stay sustainable. It's not easy to be self-employed, and it's not easy to pay your mortgage with a wedding photography business. It's getting harder and harder every day with the influx of new photographers on the market. Anybody with a good Instagram account is now a wedding photographer, whether their photos are magenta or underexposed or whatever. If you think you want to start a wedding photography business, especially if you want to quit your job, then I'm your girl. A few things, quick to get off the top of my chest. One is the world really does not need any more wedding photographers. I get it, all your friends, you're tripping over all your friends getting married, and it's easy money on the side. But guess what? You're bringing down the rest of the market if you don't charge enough. You're shooting yourself in the foot if you don't bring in enough money. As a side hustle, it's a lot easier for you to be like, oh, it's an extra $500, it's an extra $1,000, it's an extra $2,000. Because it's probably more than you're bringing home in your paycheck, isn't it? But guess what? When you're full-time and you quit that crappy job that you hate, all of a sudden, guess what has to come out of there? Self-employment taxes, 15%. Boop, straight off the top of anything you bring in. 15% off every job, straight to the government. That $500 got smaller real quick, didn't it? You know what else comes out of there? Your retirement, health insurance, your vacations, your food, internet, everything. Your entire world, your entire life comes out of that money. $500 weddings, $1,000 weddings, $1,500 weddings. That money goes quickly when you quit that job. You ready to quit your job? Are you dreaming of quitting your job because you hate it? Or do you just really want to be an entrepreneur? Love to hear from somebody who really wants to be an entrepreneur, because really, at the end of the day, that's what you'll be. You're in the business of photography. So taking pictures for fun on the side is a whole other beast than being a wedding photographer full-time. I probably take pictures 10% of the year, and that sucks. I don't take pictures of my own family anymore, my own friends, and my own life. I'm too busy. I don't want any more time in Lightroom. I don't want any more editing. So everything I do is on my phone, if it's in my real life. It's not easy. It's not easy being a full-time wedding photographer. Pricing and sales will get you through, especially your early years where you're tripping over people who want to recommend you. I get it. When you're first getting started, everybody in your inner circle is so excited for you that you found this passion. And they're all sending you business. But guess what? That dries up. You've got your inner circle, and then you've got their friends, and then what? So how are you going to get all those other people in the world that don't know you through anyone? That's called marketing. There's a lot that goes into being a wedding photographer long term. How many wedding photographers do you know that are over the age of 40? Not many. You probably don't even know any that aren't teaching like I am, right? How many wedding photographers do you know that are in their 20s? You probably know 30. If you look on Facebook, you'll get 76 people that comment to any open wedding date. That's a lot of competition. So what sets you apart? What do you do differently? Anybody can pick up a camera and take a picture. It doesn't mean you're actually a photographer. I don't care how many Instagram likes you have. Do you know if your photos are magenta? Do you know if they're underexposed? Do you know how to use a flash? Do you know how to pin a boutonniere? Because guess what? That's all part of being a wedding photographer. Let's see, I bustle the dress, I pin the boutonnieres, I manage moms, which can be, let's be honest, they're worse than bridezillas. You know, you got to run the timeline and work with all the other vendors and work with videographers and make wedding albums. I mean, a lot goes into being a wedding photographer, so it might not be for you. One of the pieces of sales tips that I learned early on when I wasn't charging enough was to charge now what you actually want to make in 18 months. And you know, that's one that's always stuck with me, even now, 15 years in, because really think about how many more weddings will you have done in 18 months? People book me now for next winter and the next spring and the next year. Sometimes you get booked 2 years ahead. Well, how many weddings are you doing a year? So how much more gear will you have? How much more knowledge will you have? How many more workshops have you gone to? How many more videos have you watched? When you're booking a wedding client specifically, you really want to think through where you'll be on their wedding day. And that's what you want to charge. Don't charge with what you feel comfortable with now, because don't you want to make more in 18 months? Don't you deserve a raise just like everybody else? You do. So you have to give it to yourself. That's the biggest problem with being self-employed, is you have to give yourself a raise. You're not going to just go beg the boss. There's no one to give you a raise but you. And there's a few ways to give yourself a raise. One is you can just raise your prices, which I would say everybody I've ever met, I tell them to raise their freaking prices, because you're freaking fracking not charging enough, no matter who you are. When was the last time you got overcharged by a wedding photographer? You heard of any photographer overcharging? Probably never. I think in my 15 years, there's once that I've accidentally overcharged a client, and you know what? They paid it. So guess what? That's the price on that product now, because they paid it, and they didn't care. Almost all the time, I would say 80% of the time, we're not making enough money. Never feel bad for your prices. Ever, ever, ever. And I would say, so another blanket statement is not only should you charge now what you want to make in 18 months, but you should also, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say you should just triple all your freaking fracking prices. Because I don't know anybody that's overcharging. Whatever magic number you came up with that you feel comfortable with is probably still too low for the actual market. Thought, oh, that sounds right. That's where I feel comfortable. And triple that number. I'm serious. Because guess what? Here's the basic math. This is why I'm telling you to triple your figures already. So let's say you are charging $1,000 for a full day wedding. Well, do your hourly rate on that. Are you even making as much money as your regular job? Probably not. Because guess what? It's not just full day coverage, could be 12 hours. You should limit it. You should say in your contract and your pricing that full day coverage is up to X amount of hours, because otherwise you will get taken advantage of. Boom. Okay, another piece of the pie. So let's just take that, right? So let's say you're working 10 hours at $1,000 for that wedding. Well, what about all your gear that you bought? What about all the workshops you've gone to and paid for? What about all the time editing? You have to get paid to edit that job. So do your hourly rate just on those numbers and see where you fall. And I want to know if you're making more money on that fun $1,000 extra for the weekend, wedding, are you really making more than your regular job? Probably not. We forget to pay ourselves for our time. You really have to pay yourself for your time. Client meetings, that's time. Building a website, that's time. Editing the photos, packing the gear, charging batteries, all of that stuff goes into it. So you really have to charge enough. So I'm just going to say triple whatever stupid number you came up with without doing any math, and you're probably still too low. And if you think $3,000 for a wedding photographer is crazy, then you just don't know the math. And as soon as you run your numbers and do the math, then you'll have a backbone when you walk into a client meeting and ask for that money. If you worked retail, leave a note in the comments. I want to know if you've ever worked for another company that charges, like retail, food service. A Big Mac is however much money. Well, wouldn't you get fired if you lowered that price? Well, so why would you give out free stuff to your clients? Why would you discount your prices for them? Because guess what? You should fire yourself if you suck that bad at sales. Sales can be fun, guys. Sales can be so much fun. Like, I am helping them solve problems. I'm not selling to be sleazy. They asked me to help them with this project. They hired me to take pictures for their wedding. Of course I'm gonna sell stuff to them. I mean, have you ever walked into Target to go get like shampoo and you walk out of there spending $100? They made it very easy for you to do that, guys. It's the same thing with you and your business. They came to you with their wallet, and it's their choice with how much money they're gonna spend. It is not your decision to decide how much they can afford. I'm gonna say that one again. You don't get to decide how much they can afford. Your job is to find people who can afford what you're selling and the numbers you need to meet to get your goals. I'm serious. Once you run your numbers and you know what you need for every job, your sole job is to find people that can afford those numbers. Don't apologize for it. Once you've done the math and you know what goes into it, that you're getting a decent hourly rate, it'll be easy, guys. Once you have that math behind you, and if you could just look at it like this is a different job, someone told you to price it that way, that you'll get fired if you give a discount, that really helps. Before every single client meeting, what I do will be right before they walk in the door, whether it's potential wedding, portrait, whatever, I just put my hat on like, okay, I work at Target. My job is to, these are my prices, these are my rates. My job is to get them, they come in here for shampoo, and I'm going to have them spend $100. And when you really look at it like that, the sales doesn't feel dirty. And then if you still have a problem with sales, let me tell you, you can go to Chinatown in Singapore and see what real pushy salespeople are like. And then you'll never, ever apologize for ever selling anything to everybody ever again. Talk about pushy. It's like they literally wrote the book on pushy sales techniques, and I think they threw the book at me. Even I couldn't get out of there, and I knew all their tricks. So don't apologize. Don't apologize for your sales. Don't apologize for helping them. You're helping them solve problems, guys. All sales is helping solve problems. And if you really look at it like that, it becomes really, really fun. For me, I look at it like I'm creating heirlooms for these people and their new family. Perfect example is one client, they built a brand new house, beautiful house, and so they wanted to start a family wall with their wedding photo. They brought me over to help them do this. Awesome. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to do this. This is so much fun. They asked me to come over and do this. So we picked a wedding photo from them, and then a bunch of complimentary photos of the bridal party, which was all family. So we have a great picture of mom and dad on one side, and a great picture of the other mom and dad, all the siblings and their spouses. And then now it's this big wall that's growing with their kids. So they have 2.5 kids now. They're pregnant with a third. And we just keep planning it out, and every time I photograph this family, we add to this wall. So their family wall is literally only my photos. Actually, every single photo in their house is my photos. We also did this really cool project over their bed at the same time that we started this family wall. So I go over there to start with this family wall, and then it turns into this other project. So we go into the bedroom, and we decide to put their vows on canvases over their bed. How cool is that? I mean, especially when you're starting to have kids right away, to remember what you committed to. And then we just put a little 4x6 on the side tables, and then I put one canvas by their dresser of the two of them on the wedding day. So it's a really simple look in their bedroom. So I sell the bedroom stuff. I sell the family wall that they wanted started. And that's already a huge sale, guys. That was already a lot that they were spending, and we hadn't even typed anything up yet. We hadn't really talked prices. We just kind of like worked out what we wanted to do, what sizes, what image choices, that kind of stuff. And I kid you not, I was leaving, or about to leave, and I walk into their foyer, and they have one of those big 2-story houses with like a giant 2-story foyer where the stairs go right up. And so it's this big empty wall. And so I just kind of casually said, well, what are you going to put up there? And the groom's like, well, I don't know. We haven't thought about it. So then that's where me being chatty comes in handy. As I said, well, why don't you put like a really cool statement piece up there, like a giant metal print of your wedding? And he's like, what's that? What's a metal print? So I showed him what a metal print was. I kind of explained it to them. It's different than canvas. It's really, really cool, totally unique. Nobody, even photographers, don't even know to offer it. And so I kid you not, as I said it, I thought, oh my gosh, I hope that there's even a photo lab that makes one that big. Like, I really didn't even know how big you could go with like one metal print. And then my next thought was, oh crap, if they buy this, I have to figure out how to hang it up there. Like, you know, so I thought for sure, that once I typed up the living room family wall, and then I pricing and invoice, and I typed up the bedroom invoice for them, I thought for sure that this metal print would be like, oh no, we can't afford that, it's too crazy, take that off. Which actually is a good sales technique also, because then they have something they can remove that is a little gratuitous, and it makes everything else look really affordable. So that's actually a sales technique. I didn't do it for that reason. So what ended up happening is they actually took off an 11 by 14 canvas from the family wall so that they could afford this giant 3-foot by 6-foot, like huge metal print. Seriously, 3 feet by 6 feet. crazy. So I was shocked. I'm like, okay, they took out 111 by 14 canvas and then they bought this crazy, amazing metal print. Awesome. But this is a statement piece in their house. They did a reveal for this photo. Literally, like, it became a whole marketing campaign for me, and this whole thing. Every single person that ever walks in their house is like, whoa, what is that? Because it's this really cool sunset of their bridal party on a bridge, all in silhouette. And the bridal party is all family and then one or two like super good friends. So it's really timeless. So it's not like their faces, you know? So it makes sense. It's a really more of an artistic sunset kind of a photo. And this is the thing with sales, is if they hid the digital files and their sister helped them make this like family wall, they wouldn't have any of this other fun stuff. They wouldn't have this amazing statement piece for their house. Sales for me it's super fun to like brainstorm with them and come up with really, really cool ideas. It's really amazing, especially like the family walls. That stuff's really a genealogical element. Like, imagine these kids now. And how cool would it be to like grow up in a house where you have this giant happy photo of like the day you're born with your parents? Like, I mean, come on. Growing up and seeing that every day, even when things are tough and you're a teenager and you hate your parents, but to see how much they love you and what they've done for you over the years, I just think that's such a gift to have that. Which is why we kept all those pictures out of the bedroom too. I wanted the bedroom to be just like their wedding vows, and like, so he picked his favorite picture of her and that's on his nightstand, and she picked her favorite picture of him and that's on her nightstand. And again, that way every morning when they wake up as a couple and they have to face these little kids, they remember that they're in it together, that this is a choice they made to commit to each other and build this life together. So I think it helps to like go to bed that way and wake up that way with that peaceful calm of like, you know, we're in this together. The key to sales is thinking about it as problem solving for your client. I love problem solving for my clients. It's my favorite thing. I love it. I feel that way about wedding albums too. Wedding albums, if anybody who knows me knows, wedding albums are my jam. I love I just love wedding albums. I love delivering them. I love looking at them. I love creating them. I love selling them. Everything about wedding albums. Like, most women have a shoe addiction. I have a wedding album addiction. I have so many sample albums. I'm always wanting new sample albums. I'm always wanting to try new companies. I just love everything about wedding albums. One of the things I love about wedding albums is that it's a genealogical record for them. Like, here's the deal, guys. My parents got married at 19. They were already pregnant. You know, they got married. They were young, and now there's 6 kids, and they're still together, and they've been together like almost 50 years. I would kill to have some photos on their wedding day. They didn't have a photographer. They didn't have any money. They had a friend take a couple rolls of like black and white film. But they didn't have a photographer, and they sure as hell don't have a wedding album. And as their child, I really wish I had those photos from their wedding day. I really wish that they had an album that I could cherish as an heirloom. When I'm selling wedding albums, I'm not thinking about the wedding. I'm not thinking about the flowers and the dress and the shoes and all the stuff you're told to care about. I care about that marriage. I care about that couple. I care about them as a unit and what they're creating together, whether they're going to have a family or not. But if they're going to have a family, it's even more important, I think, to have an album. It's a capture of a moment in time. Those two people will never be as young and as hot as they are in their wedding album. So why not? Why not create something amazing out of it? Especially since you spend all this money on weddings, all the stress and all the time to even get married and have a wedding. You need some record of it other than just Facebook photos. If you're giving out the digital files, they're only ever going to use it for Facebook and Instagram, and they might put a crappy filter on it. Take control of that situation and just offer albums and products. And I do find that some clients are album people and some people are wall art people. So just, don't push one thing super hard if they're not really feeling it. But I find that they are in one of the two camps. So you're definitely leaving a lot of money on the table if you're not offering all these other options. And here's the deal with sales, guys. Make it easy for you. Pick 1, 2, or 3 different products that you love and only offer those. That makes it so easy for you and for your client. Guess what I offer? I offer heirloom quality wedding albums. I offer giant metal prints, and I offer greeting cards. Those are my 3 primary products that I push because those are the 3 things that I love and they're completely independent of each other. Do I do canvas? Yeah, of course. Do I do framing? Sure, I will. But do I love metal? Is anyone else offering metal? That's why I do metal, because you guys aren't offering it. So the key to sales is to make it simple for you so that you can make it simple for your client. Here's another little sales tip. My metal prints, my framed prints, and my canvases are all the same price. If they're the same size, they're the same price. Is my cost different? Yeah, of course it is. But guess what? I'm making it so easy for my client because it doesn't matter what they're choosing. I don't want them to pick an inappropriate type of photo printing for the image just because of $50 or $20 or whatever. So I do my math. I actually do my math on the most expensive choice, like a metal print. Those are never on sale, or framing. I'll take the full price of that. And then canvas, I mean, most of the time canvas is on sale for us. So I'm getting a raise if they choose canvas. But this way I can sell what I want to sell. They can buy what they need to buy. Everybody's happy. It's super easy for me to remember my prices. Okay, so to recap, charge now what you want to make in 18 months if you're photographing weddings. Sales is not a dirty word. It's fun, guys. It's helping them. It's helping them have awesome, awesome stuff in their house. Sales is so much fun. There's nothing better than seeing your work perfectly color corrected, perfectly retouched, and on somebody's wall. And show what you want to sell. Pick a couple things and simplify the process for yourself and for your client. And that goes for albums. Just start out with something simple, a 10 by 10 with 20 pages, and just that's the album that you offer. Just make it super simple so that it's easy. One company, and then as you get the handle on it and it gets easier for you, the first couple times is the hardest. So after that, you can expand. You might have a client that wants a bigger one or a smaller one or more pages or whatever, and then you'll be ready to tackle that project. But keep it simple. Don't forget to, charge with now what you want to make in 18 months, and selling is fun problem solving. Those are my 3 tips. So subscribe to my YouTube channel for more. Leave a comment with your struggles and also your recent successes. I totally want to hear where you are in the process. Are you offering albums? Are you offering prints? Are you just giving out the digital files because you're freaking terrified? I also want to know where you are in your pricing structure for weddings especially. Everybody starts out doing them for like nothing and then getting pissed off that people don't feed them and don't care that they gave it to them for nothing. Well, guess what? You're the one that charged them nothing. It's your fault. So own it. Just start tripling your prices right tomorrow. Just triple, I swear to God, just triple your prices immediately because they're probably still too low. And I do one-on-one consulting if you don't think that you really need to triple them and you really think that you're ready to go. I'd love to talk to you. You're the one I want to talk to. If you've already done the math and you already feel good with what where your pricing is, you just know you need to like fine-tune it a little. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I do one-on-one consulting. You can also take my new masterclass on running a sustainable business to make sure you're doing it right. So make sure you reach out. Obviously subscribe to the channel, but really I want comments also. And feel free to shoot me an email, guys. Love to hear where you are in your process. And until next time, this is Heather McKay signing off. Thanks for watching. Happy selling!